Does this mean for me and other residents who live on a well who now have you know, paved development coming in and potentially messing up our quality of drinking water? That is not making us safe.
Oh, for in case you guys, I realized I had my mute button on, so I'm so sorry if you're just tuning in. You know, I'm an idiot today. It's Friday. I'm drinking a little bit. So what I'm doing here is, first of all, hopefully everybody's having a good Friday. Hopefully you're off to your good weekend. To set this up, I was talking about the fact that because of the pandemic, we've all been forced to kind of interact with one another differently. And so I'm sharing something funny that I thought I came across. This is a Zoom meeting, a business meeting from a zoning commission. And I want you guys to see this exchange that happens between the white zoning commissioner and this black lady professional. And I'm going to start the video over here in a second. But I want you guys to be able to kind of gauge how we've changed how we deal with each other. Because whether we like it or not, video conferencing, interacting through Zoom meetings. It's a permanent part of how we do business now. So I apologize for the muted part in the very beginning, Kenny. So I want you to check this out, and then in the comments or whatever, please let me know what you think. But I've got some commentary on this. But I want you to check this exchange out, and we're going to talk about the aftermath.
What does this mean for me and other residents who live on a well who now have you know, paved development coming in and potentially messing up our quality of drinking water? That is not making a safe neighborhood for me where it currently exists as a safe neighborhood. And I think that's something that needs to be included in conversations moving forward
Attractive,
so that
well
the
spoken.
developer is accountable to the community within which it's situating its development.
Mr. Collins, you have some thoughts?
I did. I think that we kind of lost our way on what we're talking about here. We're here to approve the standards that have been presented. And if Mrs. Rosario has something about one of those
It's Dr.
standards,
Rosario. Thank you,
if
sir.
Mrs. Rosario has something about
Dr. Rosario.
well, you know, I'm sorry. Your name
That's
says
okay.
on here, Carrie Rosario. Hey, Carrie.
Mhm. It's
If
Dr.
you got,
Rosario.
if you got something
I would
specific
call you
about one-
Tony, so please, sir,
Yeah.
call me as I would like to be called. That's how I'm
it
identifying.
doesn't really matter. We're here.
It
to talk
matters
about
to
this
me.
voting.
It matters to me.
I-
And
I'm-
out of
I'm
respect,
sorry.
I would like you to call me by the name that I'm asking you to call me by. Thank you.
Your screen says Carrie Rosario.
I'm
Anyway, if that's
verbalizing
what
my
you wanna
name is
argue about,
Dr. Carrie Rosario. And it really speaks very negatively of you as a commissioner to be disrespectful.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you're negotiating something that happened 4 years ago. We've taken on this function. This is not a zoning function. This is a planning function. And Mr. Chairman, I think that if there's something that she has something specific in these standards, let's hear what it is. Everything we've heard is general. If there's one of these standards that's been presented, let's hear what it is.
I wanted you guys to see the full input of the meeting so that you can understand where we're coming from with this. Now, here's the aftermath of that exchange. That white commissioner, he was unanimously kicked off of the commission, unanimously voted out of the commission because basically he was being disrespectful, as they say. Kenny, you said, get in his ass, my sister. He is being dismissive and disrespectful to that sister. And that's pretty much how the commission saw it. He was kicked off of the commission. Look, I'm going to look at it from a different perspective and play devil's advocate here. So bear with me for a second. Let me start by saying, number one, clearly the commission agreed with you, Kenny, and they thought that somebody needed to get in that ass, that he was being disrespectful to the sister, that she's educated. And I wanted you to see that. She was well-spoken, not ghetto, not talking Ebonics, and she wanted to be called by that title of doctor. Now, I have a problem with that, a little problem in this sense. If you saw in that exchange, when his name came up on that Zoom meeting, it had his name, and it had his title and position. Now go back and watch that video. She listed herself in a Zoom meeting under her name, Carrie. So what the guy said, he says her name was on there, Carrie Rosario. Now, to me, his tone wasn't disrespectful. It might have been dismissive of the title, but I didn't take it as disrespectful. He said, well, your name says Carrie. Now, to me, where he effed up is where he says it really doesn't matter. That was the rub. That was the rub. But when I watched that exchange, and I watched it a few times, and I thought to myself, he was kicked off of the commission because he was perceived as being disrespectful, as you said, Kenny. And she said, well, call me by my name. Now, let me say this as an educated person. I don't use my education ever to beat people across the head, ever. And believe it or not, I'm a damn fool, but believe it or not, I'm highly educated. Highly. I have both my undergrad and my master's in business administration. I also went to school, seminary school. So, go figure. I used to be a preacher as well. So I'm highly educated, secular education, as well as in divinity, and then of course I grew up in Harlem, so I got my street degree. So, but I never used my education as a whipping stick. My personal belief is that true education is how much you don't know. So I don't put my education in front of me everywhere I go. Now, having said that, in a professional arena, if you go to my LinkedIn page, what you're going to see is the letters behind my name. You know why? Because I earned those. So I'm a very big proponent of education. I work in education. So when somebody takes the time and makes the sacrifice, not to mention the financial commitment to go out and get educated, especially at the doctoral level, hey, I'm all for it, baby. Use that title. That should come before your name. My problem here is that you didn't come on the Zoom meeting with that title. And if you've got that title, damn it, you ought to be able to use it. Can you say, now I'm going to play devil's advocate? If Dr. Rosario was a mayonnaise woman, he would have said, excuse me, my mistake, and called her what she was to be called. You are absolutely right, which is why I would imagine he lost his position, because there is another video where it was flipped over, where it was a white woman who talked down. So you're right. Melatonin does have some things to do with it. Clearly, in this day and age where everything is politically charged, racially charged, and the commission, if you saw the Zoom up there, they were clearly all African Americans. They felt he was being disrespectful and dismissive as well. I didn't feel the disrespect personally. That's just me sitting on the outside of this. I thought it was dismissive. Now, of course, her personally felt disrespected because, as I just said, she earned that degree. Trust in me when I tell you, anybody that goes to school and walks out of there with a doctorate, you've earned it. They do not give those away. Hell, they don't give master's degrees away. I worked for mine. And as I said, if you go on my professional page, LinkedIn, there are letters behind my name because I earned every last one of those letters up on my wall here at home. Those are the two most expensive pieces of paper I own. If there was a fire in this bitch, that's what I'm grabbing. Damn the furniture, damn the TVs. Those two doctrines up on my wall, I'm over 100 grand in student loan debt for those. I earned those. Nobody gave me those. But having said that, he said, hey, your name says Carrie Rosario. I thought he was calm. I didn't think he was disrespectful. But what it goes to show is that, and I call it, you better put some respect on their name. African American women, let me say this for the record, are the most educated demographic on the face of this planet. Let me repeat that. Don't take my word for it. African American women are the most educated sector on this. They get theirs. And so she felt deservedly so to be called by that title. I only say, though, you should have put that title in your window, sweetheart, And it's kind of like a scene out of the movie Guarding Tess. If you've seen that movie, at the she's the former president's wife, and she doesn't want to get into the wheelchair, and the hospital officials are saying, you know, but it's policy, and the Secret Service guy, shut up, and he says to the doctor, are the rules really that important? Is it life or death? And he looks at Tess and he says, Tess, get in the goddamn chair. In the grand sense of things, this man lost his job over a faux pas where he probably could have said, like you said, Kenny, excuse me, I meant no disrespect. I think he lost his job when he said it really doesn't matter, because for anybody getting that education, it damn sure matters. But he was unanimously voted out. But I'm just saying, be careful what you say in these Zoom meetings. Everything matters. And my God, I want to say something else, but it might get me in even too much trouble. You know, Kenny, you said, I hear what you're saying, though. Brother Dr. Rosario should have titled herself as such before. That's the only thing I'm saying. We can't read your mind. We can't read your thoughts, ladies. And somebody asked me Wednesday night when we were talking about the relationship between mothers and daughters. I'm about to end this video about doing more for women and people in general and stuff like that. And I made the comment that in today's world, you're terrified to even open a door for a woman. You're terrified to pull out a chair. You're terrified if you see somebody on the street to reach out and help, because your intentions are one thing, but you know what matters in 2021? How things are perceived, how it's perceived. Now he's lost his position. Now he'll be okay. Let's not get all up and sad. It ain't costing him nothing. It's just a damn zoning commission. He's lost his position, but he lost it over something, to me, that could have been avoided, something trivial that in the grand scheme of things, like the movie Test, is it really that important that you have to have somebody on a Zooming meeting call you doctor, even though you didn't put it out yourself? Because let's go back to what she said. She says, call me what I want to be called. Now, there's when I said I want to say something and get in trouble. I'm going to go on and say it. When we get to a place where we got to call people what they want to be called. So if I'm on a Zooming meeting and I decide, you know what, even though it says Lee Black up here on the screen, what if in my next meeting I say, but I want you to call me the Grand Master Poobah of all the earth? And anybody says, hey, Lee, no, it's the Grand Pooh Master of all the earth. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, Lee. No, it's the Grand Poobah Master of all the earth, because that's what I want to be called. It's all so silly, people. It's all too serious. We need to lighten up a little bit and not turn every single thing into a racial issue. We got much bigger things to fight over, much more important things to fight for. And so, Dr. Rosario, I applaud you, sweetheart, for the effort you put into it, if in fact you really are a doctor, because according to that Zoom meeting, you was just Rosario. And that's something to think about. Till next time, let's keep it real.